Colleague Besties. Today I'm going to do the tutorial for our I believe this is 7 by 7, 5 by 5 hanging sign. And the napkin that I'm going to be using today is our Proverbs 7:9. A sweet friendship refreshes the soul. And if you're watching this in the kit, this is part of our August 2023 design kit. And so your kit's gonna have some of the items I have today, as well as additional napkins if you're watching it later. Obviously this works for any of our napkins. And at the time of this recording, we do have the signs on the store. And so I'll be using some things from the kit today, and then also some things just from my craft stash. If you're a crafter, you know we always have extra things laying around the house. So I've got some ribbons that I've just pulled from my stash here that I think are gonna go with this project. And then some of the things that came in the kit, we've got the twine to hang it. We've got some of this little raspy stuff, the little button, and just some mixed papers that came in the kit I'm gonna be using today. And then some extra stuff that you're gonna wanna have on hand. I like to do the sanding block for my edging. So I have that today. I've got my little bit bigger brush, obviously water to clean our brush. I'm gonna be using 2 napkins, 2 come in the kit, but I wanna use some of these extra embellishments, I think, to cover the sign. You could paint the back of this. There's many different ways that you could do it. You could do it unfinished as well. I'm kind of still deciding if I wanna use some of these papers for backgrounds or some of the, I might do some layering here. So I didn't bring paint today, but you could just paint and finish it. Obviously this is art, so however you wanna do it. But you're also gonna want some scissors. We're gonna be using some plastic wrap. This is my kind of trick for smoothing out the edges on that. And then I just have my mustard bottle of Mod Podge that I'm gonna use on there. So this is what I'm having to work with today. And yeah, we're just gonna get started. So the first thing that I'm going to want to do is I'm just gonna separate my designs here. If you have not seen one of our videos before, I apologize if you have, and this is kind of a repeat, but we often get asked why we just have the design on the one corner of the napkin. And that is because we custom design all of our prints here. They are designed by myself, and we custom print here in the US. And so to keep costs down, we're only able to print on the front of the napkin. And so that is why it only has the one design. And so that allows us to print here and not overseas, and to be able to keep the cost down to you, but that is why it is just the one side. So we just cut all this away so that we're only using that one side. You can keep this, and you can actually run this through your printer and print on it. I have a tutorial for that as well. So if you're worried about waste, we can actually reuse this. And I also use it to clean up too. So just put that aside, but we're just gonna be using the top side of the napkin. So I'm gonna go ahead and try and separate that now, because I just kind of wanna see where everything's gonna lay out on my sign. So we just want the very top layer. All of our napkins are 3-ply napkins, so these are very high quality napkins. And they're actually food quality napkins. So we have people that purchase our napkins to use them for baptisms, for weddings, for ministry events. So you can actually use them for not just crafting, but you can use them for other events. But that's what you want, just that see-through first layer, and that's what's gonna kind of give us that transparent look. And so if you wanted a more natural look, you could just decoupage that right on there and go just with that. But I just kind of want to see, I'm just trying to get a layout of where everything is going to show up on here. So I'm going to do this first one. I'm just going to kind of play with the different things. I also have a little pumpkin cutout that came in the kit. So I'm going to use, I have a pumpkin pattern paper here that came with the mixed papers. I'm going to use, I think that with that. So I'm going to leave that over there. But I just want to play with my patterns here. I want my words to show up, but I'm also worried about having like a seam in the middle. So I've been thinking about this since last night, how I'm going to do this. It really is easier if you just use paint, but I like mixed media, so I was like, let's do some layering. All right, so I'm just gonna separate my other thing here. I think I'm gonna do some tearing. is what we're gonna do. All right, so I'm gonna get my other thing, and again, I'm just gently separating. Because these are high quality, you do want to go gently, but you shouldn't have any ripping or tearing of the design very easily. So that's again why we want to make sure that those are, we're using, that's why we make sure we use high quality napkins, because we don't want these tearing on you. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna do, because I do want this design centered in the front when I'm done here, like this is what I want the highlight of my sign to be. And so I'm gonna be using these other papers and stuff to kind of fill around the edges. So I think I'm just gonna be just kind of tearing the corners off this, because I don't want any like straightish lines in the behind the actual print. I don't want like a line going through the middle of my sign when I decoupage the final print over the top. So we're gonna start applying my background first. So this is just kind of just a printed paper. It doesn't have any words or anything on it. It's just like almost like a textury paper. So I'm gonna apply this first, and I'm just gonna put a general little smearing of my Mod Podge on here. Since this isn't the napkin and it is a thicker cardstock paper, I can be a little bit more aggressive with the Mod Podge because it's not gonna suck up. The napkin will kind of suck up and it might tear if you put too much of the Mod Podge on it, but this paper is going to be a little bit more forgiving. All right, so I just kind of I did line it up against the top, and then I kind of put my tears in the middle because I'm going to be doing some like crisscross layering here. What I'm trying to get away from is I just don't want to seam like right down the middle, because that's where I'm going to put my words. So I'm probably going to be doing some tears and layering around this way. And I'll just show you, we're just going to keep layering it up is basically what I'm going to do. So right now I'm just going to kind of work on tacking around my edges here because I didn't do the best job of that. I'm here in Arizona, and you could probably hear the air will kick on and off. It's like super hot here right now. And so our air is just working overtime to keep us cool, but I will take it. I'm very blessed to have the air conditioning working. Now, another thing that you are going to want to do, and I'm gonna reach over here and grab a pencil because I forgot to grab something pokey, and I always forget this. Anytime you have a sign or something with a hole in it, you wanna poke through the front of it while it's still wet, so that we can get our string through it later, so we're not poking through it while it's dry. So I'm gonna go ahead and I just poked right through it while it's still wet. That way we don't have to worry about it tearing on us when it's dry, and then it will just dry. Woo! This is why you have the surface saver, right? Because I just dropped Mod Podge right on my, would have been on my nice counter, but it just dropped right there on the mat. And what's nice is, one, I have these napkins here, I can just smear it up, but two, once it dries, I can just peel it right off. So I'll get the excess now, and then once it dries, when we're done, we'll just peel that right off, and I don't even have to worry about it. So yeah, I designed this surface saver with my son in mind. He loves to craft, and we had the big Fisker mat, and it wasn't flexible. I love the size, but it wasn't flexible, and then it was ugly in the middle, and I didn't like that. And I was like, why don't they have any that are cute, that have like something cute or inspirational in the middle, that says something about crafting or something about fun, or I don't know, something. and I couldn't find one. So what does Melanie do when she can't find something? She makes something. So that's what I did. I just made it. And so I had it designed, and yeah, I had it designed and I had it made, and they're available on the store, and I absolutely love them. It's one of our top sellers, and yeah, you can grab them on the store, but love them. We get so many compliments on them. The paint and the Mod Podge and everything just peels right off, and you wipe it down with the cloth when you're done. Like a wet cloth, everything just comes right off. The hot glue will just peel right off. You can use it with resin. It's temperature safe. Like it's just, it literally is a lifesaver. I absolutely love it. Okay, so again, I'm just gonna see where we're at here. I'm just gonna see where I'm gonna end up. I just wanna make sure I have enough of my stuff here. All right, just ripping off my little pieces. Again, this is all going behind, so it's not gonna need to be perfect because this is just my background. And again, if you're like, oh my gosh, this is too many layers, I don't wanna deal with this, you could paint. Painting would have been much easier. So I don't want you to get, if you're a beginner and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm already overwhelmed, you could just do paint. White paint and your money. So don't stress out. This is just me trying to be fancy. Just trying something new, challenging myself today. And just seeing what else I can come up with. We'll just see how it looks. This is part of the fun. It's just, let's stick it down and see what works. Let's see what we come up with. And again, it's the background. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I have these other butterflies that I'm going to use to cover everything. That's why I wanted the 2 napkins. I want the saying, but then I also am going to be, I'll show you how I'm going to use the other butterflies here. Okay, so I had a thought here. Oh, I'm just tearing up these edges so that I don't have straight edges. And then to do this, you're just using your nail and you're just like, just primping it with your nail and just ripping off little pieces. So you get kind of like a jagged edge. And so you don't have like that nice crisp like cut line. And so, yeah, so we were just taking a square piece of paper and just making it more of a ripped, chunky piece of paper. So that it's not perfect. And we're gonna plop this one in here. When I very first started in this crafting niche, one of my friends, Lisa, was like, because I was telling her, I just have scraps. Like, that's all I have is scraps, scrap paper. And she was like, we love scraps. And I was like, what? She's like, yes, that's what we do. We love scraps. And I was like, okay, we can work with scraps. And so, because I was out of my initial paper that I had designed when I started this company, I had ran out of paper, and she was doing a class. It was kind of the backstory. I started that in the middle of the story, sorry about that. And she had wanted some samples, and I told her, I'm like, all I have is scraps, and so I can't send you any samples because I just have the scraps. And she was like, send me your scraps, like that's what we use. We use scraps. And I was like, oh, well, I could send you scraps. I sent her my little scraps, and she made the most beautiful piece of art with these little scraps of my paper that I sent her. It was the most insane thing. So again, I'm just using all the little scraps that I have left here to fill in, sorry, I keep putting the glue in front of where you're trying to watch, to fill in the last little spaces. And you'll see some of these are hanging off the edge, and that's fine because we are going to, we're gonna let it dry here, but we're gonna sand off the edges. I'm so sorry, I keep putting that right in front of where you're at. I keep forgetting that important. It's been a minute since I've done a tutorial, can you tell? We have had an insane amount of people join the Crafting and Christ Club in the last 14 days. If that is you and this is like your first kit, or you're just joining us and this is like your second month, welcome, welcome, welcome. God is amazing. Literally, I can't even tell you. We had 50 people join the Crafting and Christ Club in, what was it? 50 people in 15 days. It was insane. So crazy, getting everyone on board, getting everyone's orders, getting everything shipped, and it is still going crazy. We're still so excited getting everyone on, but it has been just a little frazzling year. We had crazy orders, getting everything together, and so it's just been a little woo over here. So yeah, so I'm a little bit frazzled in getting back on track here, getting all the tutorials and everything done. But again, don't forget to poke your hole in the front there. You want to go through the front so it pushes the paper back. And my seam is trying to come up, but it's okay because we're going to put another layer on and we're going to shove that sucker down when we do. So right now, this is mid-project, so we're looking a little wonky. It's okay. Okay, the surgery is not done yet. So if yours looks like this, we're fine. If you look at the back, it's all like womp womp. But we're gonna let this dry, and I'm gonna start doing my little pumpkin for right now because we want this to dry a little bit before we do our second layer where we're gonna start putting the verses on. Now, if you wanted the verse to pop a little bit more and not have the background texture show through, or if your background was a little bit darker, you may want to put a little bit of white paint on here so it shows through. I'm not gonna do that because I do want the texture to show through, so we're good. So that is as far as I'm gonna go on that. So next, I am gonna just do my pumpkin. So this is gonna be pretty easy. This I'm not gonna tear. I'm just gonna literally stick this right on here, and then we'll sand the edges, and this is gonna be pretty simple. So we'll let this go, and then we can work on our, whatever I'm gonna do for my little bow here. All right, so this is pretty easy. We're just gonna slap our Mod Podge on here and place our paper. Just want to get to the edges. Again, this is thicker, like scrapbook paper, so you can be pretty generous with the Mod Podge, and it's not gonna give you problems. Do another blob there. Okay, so the biggest thing here is just kind of figure out where I want to pattern, where I want my little bee and my flower and my... The other thing I like about the Surface Saver is you put the grid on it so you can line up your, whatever it is that you're working on, and then you can kind of line up whatever it is you're sticking on it. So you can put your, so you can see what it's going to look like there. And then I'm just working it around the edges to push them in. That's gonna help me be able to sand it a little bit better. But then also, I'm gonna cut off the excess. Here. Ready? All right, so I'm gonna just let that dry a little bit before I mess with it, but you'll kind of get an idea of that's what our little pumpkin is gonna look like there. And I'm just gonna scooch some of my little trash to the side here. I think I did decide I was going to try and thread my bead on this thing. I always forget what this stuff is called. crafty? Is it crafty? It looks like corn stalk stuff to me. Apologies for the dog. Pets, you know? All right. I did get my little bead on here. I know I want this little guy on there like that at some point, so put him aside. Okay, and this is gonna be my little string to hang them when he's done, so I guess it's a boy. All right, so I'm gonna work, while that's what's drying, I'm gonna work on my bow, which, y'all, I'm not a bow person. This shabby bow stuff is my weakness. So, oh look, I just have, this is what it's gonna be. I have this little perfect amount here. So I really only know how to make one kind of like messy bow thing. And it's just grabbing a bunch of stuff and putting it in a stack and bundling it together and then chopping it. That's how I do it. I guess it's like a shabby bow thing. I don't know. I got one bow. So I am bow challenged. I went to Pinners this year and I had this great expectation that I was gonna learn. I took a whole class on like wreath making or whatever. Do you think I finished that wreath? That wreath is still in a bag, in a closet, in my craft room. Yeah, do you think I even finished it? No, because I made all those bows in that class and I still did not like any of the bows that I made. I just thought they were the ugliest things. And so I couldn't even bear myself to finish it because I didn't like any of them. So all I know is you just take these loops that are different thicknesses, supposedly, and you stack them together at different lengths. And I don't even know if these are the right, like, whatevers, but this is what you're supposed to do. And these are probably not even the right, this one probably needs like a couple more because it's really thick. And you know, this is why you call it shabby, because seriously, y'all, if I can do this, anyone can do this. I think I'm gonna actually use my, okay. Gotta get it going the right direction. All right. I think that's the whole point, that it looks good because it looks shabby. Shabby's just a mess, so I can do messy. All right, I think I need, well, one. I need like another pair of scissors to hold this down. All right, we're getting there, we're getting there. Bear with me. See, if you're new, this is like Yin can cook. Anyone can craft, dude. If I can do this, anyone can do this. Because obviously, I'm just making this up on the fly. All right, we're just going with it. All right, I've cut a couple more of those. I feel like we need a couple more of these. My bow's probably gonna be bigger than my sign. Whatever, who's judging, right? Everything is beautiful on the side of the Lord. All right, let's see what we do with this. Okay, and then I think I might use this extra, this one's pretty thick. I think I can use this to tie it. Yeah, and then I was gonna use, yeah, okay. All right, we're getting somewhere. All right, so a couple of these. All right, so if you can see, hopefully you can see, I'm just stuffing things under my extra pair of scissors here. No miracles are happening over here. We're just stuffing, we're just looping and stuffing, and then I'm just gonna tie it. I don't even know if I was supposed to be cutting these in loops. I probably just broke some bow rules. I'm sure somebody will let me know. That seems to happen sometimes. I feel like you weren't supposed to do that. I'm like, oh well. Ah. All right, there we go. We're gonna grab this fat mamma jamma. Okay, if that's not like the shabbiest looking thing that you ever saw. Okay. Grabbing my cornstalk. Wrappy. Is that what we decided it was? Was it wrappy? Okay, please don't break on me, wrappy. All right, he's holding. We're doing good. All right, I'm double knotting this sucker. I'm like triple knotting this sucker. Okay, so generally what happens is I see the front and I don't like it. And then I go into my stash and I get like some kind of burlap something or other, which is, I'm telling you right now, it's gonna happen. And I'm gonna glue it right in the middle there. So when you see a picture when we're done, it's gonna have a burlap thing to cover the middle. So I'm telling you right now, I don't like it. But it's what I do in every single one. So when you see the finished picture, it's gonna have like a button, like a burlap something right here. I don't know why I don't just grab it because I do it every time. But other than that, this is not horrible. I like this. I'll put the burlap centerpiece in there to cover that, but that's gonna be my little shabby bow. So not quite done yet, but again, those burlap center pieces, we have them on the site too, I think. To cover the middle of the bow, we'll add that, but that's gonna be the bow. So again, if I can make a scrappy bow, girlfriend, you can make a scrappy bow because I am the worst bow maker. Somebody says you should get that bow, the bow thing, the bow builder. I don't even know, but I can't do it. All right, I am gonna what am I gonna do? Well, let's do this and then we'll go back and seal that. Okay, so this one is a little bit of a longer tutorial, but we have a lot of steps on this one. Okay, let's go ahead and apply our verse here. So again, I'm gonna take a sip of water because I've been talking a lot. Gotta hydrate, okay. So the next thing we're gonna do, again, I'm just gonna line up my sign. Make sure when you're applying your verse, this happened the other day. Make sure, and this is another reason you wanna poke the holes, is that you have you know where the top of your sign is. Because the last thing that you wanna do is apply your verse and then realize that you have applied your verse on your sign upside down. It happens to the best of us. Okay, so we know this is the top of the sign because our holes are right here. And then we have our lines here on our super saver so we can make sure everything is centered. Okay, so I'm gonna get everything centered the way that I want it. And I'm gonna do my half and half here. So I'm gonna do a little bit. Again, we're not getting crazy with the Mod Podge now because we are, oops, hold on, I'm not using the whole napkin. I am actually going to tear around the, just the outside of the design. Don't panic, we're good. I'm just taking my fingernails and I'm just tearing around. I don't want this whole square. I just went right around the outside of the oval and the butterflies. And I'm just gonna catch that green so that it's all the same all the way around. Apologies that I skipped that on you. Got ahead of myself. All right, just tearing out, just so I get the design, because I didn't want all that extra on there. So we're gonna use that, there we go. So I just want the verse. There we go. So again, Mod Podge there, so I'm gonna gently feather it out. I only did half of my Mod Podge, and I'm just lightly feathering. And I'm gonna apply the Mod Podge to the brush. And I'm working my way underneath gently from the middle out. Lifting up and lightly feathering out. From the middle out, lifting up, lightly feathering out, and then just going over the edges very gently. Now here's where our plastic wrap comes in. You're gonna lay it flat. Then you're just gonna peel, like reel your finger over it. Hold it down, and then peel over it. Like nothing is moving. Don't let the plastic wrap move. You're just kind of like sliding over the top of the plastic wrap and pushing any of the bubbles down. Okay, we're not rubbing it back and forth. We're just sliding over. You should be feeling those bubbles work out. And then gently peel it off. And don't touch it. It's gonna be very tempting. Do not touch anything. Okay, I know you're gonna have some like bubbly. It might look a little bubbly right now. We're not gonna touch anything. So this is what it looks like right now. We're just gonna let it sit. Okay, so this is what we have right now. We're just gonna put that down. We're gonna let it sit there for a second. Even I am resisting the touching. I know it's hard. Take a drink of water. We don't touch anything. We hydrate. We don't touch. We don't look at it. I'm in the same boat, I know. There's always the desire to want to keep touching, to work out the wrinkles. And what happens is we overwork it and we cause more wrinkles. So just don't. It is going to change as it dries. So just know that. But we're gonna add some more. I wanna add some more of the little butterflies as it keeps going. But for right now, I'm gonna go ahead and work on this little pumpkin, and then we'll go back and finish that up. So I'm just doing my edges. This is the same way we're gonna edge the other one, but you just have your sanding block, and you're just gonna work from the forward for the paper is, you're gonna sand it backwards, okay? And as you do that, you're gonna get a really nice edge. And this is how I like doing all of the edges on my wood pieces. So you just keep working around the pumpkin. Oh, it's a brand new sanding block. Look, I'm going to destroy it. I've had the same sanding block since I started like a year and a half ago, and I just got like freshies. Already too hard on them. Just keep working around, and it's just gonna peel right off. It comes off easy. The napkins come off like way easier than obviously the scrapbook paper, which is a little thicker. But these are like so much faster. So just work that around. And if you wanted like a little extra edge, you can, if you want like a little rougher edge, you could come up a little higher and age it up. If you wanted to have more of an aged look around the outside, you could do like some age or some wax. I'm not gonna deal with any of that today, but obviously you could take this as crazy or as aged as you wanted to. But for time's sake, I'm just gonna go ahead and finish on this little guy. I wanted to add some of this to him. I think I was just gonna go with a little bow. I use a lot of buffalo check in my home decor, obviously, so I always have a lot of neutral and buffalo check ribbon in my stashes here. Put this through. Here. I'm trying to use this in the colors too. And I'm probably going to add some more, I'm going to get some more of the little wrappy to add to him too as well for the final picture. So I will add some more of that to him, but there we've got the little pumpkin that we're going to add. So we'll go back and add the final details. I am actually going to do the edging on this now so that I can get an idea of how I want to do my extra embellishments for the extra butterflies. Again, if you're not quite dry here yet, just be careful where you're touching so you don't lift up your main design there. Like I can tell mine's a little bit wet over here. So I'm just gonna go through and start doing the edging on the sign. So it's just the same exact way that we did the pumpkin. We're just gonna clean up the edges. Pulling your design off the front of your sign. So as you're dragging, drag from the front back. So you can kind of see how we're getting cleaned up right there. And again, you could do some aging on the sign too if you have some like antique wax or paint, or if you want to rough up the edges more to age the edges, you could. The other thing I love about the surface saver, when you're done, you can just roll this up, dump it all in the trash, and you've got your whole surface like cleaned up when you're done. Rinse it off and you're good to go. You can make dinner. Like, it's easy to clean up too. So again, I had everything in mind when I designed this. I was like, how can I craft and live too? Okay, so let me figure out where I'm gonna put my pumpkin first, because that's gonna decide. I think we're gonna do pumpkin to the left, and I'm gonna keep the bow. Oh my gosh, how cute is this gonna be? Oh my gosh, this is turning out way cuter than I even thought. Okay, so I think I'm just gonna maybe layer, I don't even know if I'm gonna add more. You know what? I'm looking at it and there's so much going on. I don't even think I'm gonna add more. I'm not gonna add more butterflies, you guys, because I've got so much pattern going on with the pumpkin and the bow. I think if I add more butterflies, it's gonna be too much. All right, let me just put this, let me show you, because I was gonna do more butterflies, but this is why you look before you lay it out, before you commit. All right, I'm just gonna pop it up here real quick. Well, let me put my pumpkin on. Well, I'm gonna tack it on because I do wanna add some wrappy. Before I take my final pick, I'm gonna tack it on for you so you can see, and then I'm gonna take a final pick. So in the video, you see like the final pick, but I wanna add some more wrappy, and I wanna add my thing to my bow before I take the final pick. So I'm gonna show you like what it's gonna look like. That's how I'm gonna end it. So I wanna add a few more things, and then I'll take the final pick so you'll see the finished picture, but that's what mine's gonna look like. So I can't wait to see what yours looks like. I know this was a little bit longer tutorial than we normally do, but this was a kind of a layered process, and we did a little bit more. Again, if you wanna simplify it, obviously you could just paint and you wouldn't have to do this many, you know, there was a lot of stuff in this first kit, so I'm excited about that. But again, so thank you so much for watching your tutorial, or this tutorial. If you make any of our crafts or use any of our products, we'd love for you to tag us with anything that you share on social media at Christian Craft Paper. We love featuring your products on our newsletter, in our crafting group at the Christian Craftaholics. And we thank you so much for blessing us with your crafts and your talents. And until next time, happy crafting.